So it's 17 new counts. What American prosecutors are now stacking up against Julian Assange is probably enough to put a whole basketball team behind bars. Assange and WikiLeaks have repeatedly sought and obtained and disseminated information that the U.S. classified due to serious risk, dragging big fat skeletons out of government closets. Once that was seen as top-class journalism at its best. Those were the days. Remember the 1971 Pentagon Papers release about the Vietnam-related ugly skeletons?
We're talking about exposing years of government secrets.
Is that legal?
What is it you think we do here for a living?
Those who dug all of it out or made the secret info public were praised. That was nowhere near the kind of media treatment Mr. Assange received.
The free press is not responsible for the origins of any material that gets to us. Unless, of course, we are responsible for it because we had something to do with how it was illegally obtained.
And if someone's life was potentially at risk, responsible media would not publish that.
Yes, these are hard conversations that are had in newsrooms around the country and the world.
At the end of the day, what would you say to those people who do claim that, look, his activities did far more damage than good?
You are not allowed to help instruct. You are not allowed to try to help somebody defeat security systems.
Even the most Russia-gating media people out there who would have all but destroyed WikiLeaks for getting the DNC emails out are now feeling something's wrong with this new indictment.
This is, to put it bluntly, wrong, unconstitutional, and downright tyrannical.
This is a pretty aggressive new move by the Justice Department. A big deal here for First Amendment advocates.
The government is now trying to assert this brand new right to criminally prosecute people for publishing secret stuff. And newspapers and magazines and investigative journalists and all sorts of different entities publish secret stuff all the time. That is the bread and butter of what we do.
However, for all these years while Julian Assange had to hide in London's Ecuadorian embassy, and we all know why, these folks pretty much kept stum on his fate, because obviously there were plenty of other real threats to American journalism, i.e. the cornerstone of democracy, like the president calling them bad things or CNN's Jim Acosta getting his White House pass revoked for causing trouble at a press conference.
This is a journalist who has spent his career doing what I think the great journalists do, which is holding power to account.
I do think they're trying to shut us down to some extent.
The reality is that this could possibly be the new normal, and that's what people are fearing.
And that's not okay.
That's why the lawsuit is actually happening.
I think they're trying to send a message to our colleagues.
Well, if now finally the WikiLeaks founder's fate was able to squeeze out a few First Amendment tears on American news, it's probably too late anyway.
Assange has long split opinion. Our guest reacted to the latest twist in his tale.
We've talked a lot about First Amendment issues and First Amendment rights, and it is very important to look at that. I mean, we're looking at social media mass banning, censorship of certain political party outputs, certain media, but commentators. The First Amendment has come up a lot, not just with Twitter banning, but with banning of other people. And a lot of the people that are being banned are journalists, are either freelance journalists or members of the media in some way.
The prosecution of Julian Assange is part and parcel of Trump's war on the free press. Full stop. And I think there'll be limited takers for that, actually, both in the US and here.
Under the First Amendment, there is a right to be a news gatherer. And clearly, when Julian Assange goes to the United States of America, assuming he does, then there will be a court case to the Supreme Court related to that. But if you look at when Bradley Manning released all this information, he was ultimately pardoned by Barack Obama, and that's because there's a process here. But what cannot be allowed to happen is when a group of people in the military, in the intelligence services, in government, break the espionage laws.
I think it was a basic mark of respect to Chelsea Manning to get her name right and give her due respect on that score. In addition, she was never pardoned by the Obama administration. I wish she had been. Her sentence was commuted, which means that her conviction her conviction stands, which is something that that is still being appealed, and I believe will go all the way up to the Supreme Court.
This could seem like a case where there could be some issues that he has to face and that he has to own up to. But there also is the facts that have come out that they haven't seen a lot of people who were either killed or damaged in the light of duty because of this. So they'll have to look at actual damages and harm that this caused.
In the very extensive surveys the US government did after the Manning disclosures, they could not find a single person who had been harmed by those disclosures.
The truth of the matter was, he has been afraid of making his case to a group of juries and courts that are actually properly constituted, genuine and serious. I think he needs to go to America and he needs to make his case in front of the American courts, which may or they may not accept that he is a journalist. But what you can't do is what he did when he ridiculed the United Kingdom by hiding in the Ecuadorian embassy.
I think it's going to be a fight. But I think he can win it, because what has happened with this superseding indictment, it makes the issues absolutely crystal clear.
I think this is going to be a much bigger case than people imagine. Look, at the end of the day, I could scream and cry and insult others and just sit there and sob and bang my feet like a baby and call conspiracy theory when I don't like something. But there are facts, there are laws, and all of that is going to be assessed very soon.